Pregame.com.
This is our second of two videos on Las Vegas football contests. Dave, on the first video we talked about the concept itself of contests that you're a big fan of. You think that there's a positive EV, and I agree. But the Hilton contest, which we're going to talk about in this video, has really taken on a special place in these contests. Why don't you just kind of tell us a little bit, give us the basics of the Hilton first. We can talk about the history and then maybe strategies on playing.
Yeah, the Hilton Super Contest, I pick 5 games against the spread every week for all 17 weeks. Now, some contests use half points, so a lot of times if a game is, on 3 everywhere in the world, the other contests will go on 3.5 or 2.5, and then you have so many people.
I'll play the dog, and then
yeah, right. So
a lot of game theory.
Yeah, you have 90% of people that are on those, but that's not the case in the Super Contest. The Super Contest, if the number is 3 on Wednesday when they're making the lines, it's 3 in the contest.
So they release the line once it stays cemented at that number. Now last year, if I recall, they released the line Tuesday. They're actually moving to Wednesday this week, you were telling me.
Yeah. For years in their contest rules, it was always that a game had to be played by Monday to be considered official. And so that was usually never a problem because since 1946, the NFL never played a game on Tuesday. Well, last December, Vikings and Eagles game was postponed. They decided to play it on Tuesday, and that messed everything up because it made those people that used that game, it was voided. It didn't count as a play, win or loss. And then also on Tuesday, the Hilton put up the lines for the Super Contest for that weekend's games. Well, the Eagles were still playing for home field advantage until they lost to the Vikings as 17-point underdogs. So then that threw all the Week 17 lines off. So there were several lines that were off. So the Hilton decided, we'll release the lines on Wednesday. We'll let Tuesday game stand, and that way the lines will be more solid and more fair to everybody.
So let me tell you a little story about game theory. This is going to be a hard one to believe, but it's a true story. Is one of the pregame partners, Johnny Detroit. He's been with us a long time, but he had his own site years ago.
All right, let it ride.
Let it ride.
Gives props.
When he was in the wilderness, and he came in from the cold, but he actually put together a team of 5 of his best forum posters, and they actually were either tied or in the lead of the Hilton going into the last week. This is 2004. Now, each guy was responsible for his own pick. Literally, because of a change in, I can't remember, a quarterback got hurt or the playoffs or whatever, something happened, or a line literally went from -3 to +3. All right? So it went literally a 6-point swing, or you're going through 0, so it's not exactly a 6-point swing. All right. The guy who was like 14-3 on the year or 13-3 said, I'm laying the 3 on the team that is +3. I still like it. Now, wait a minute. You're giving a teaser. It's like a reverse teaser away. But the guy's 14-2, and John had to give him his autonomy, I guess you'd say. So we actually put in, I was proxying, we actually put that baby in. Well, as you can imagine, that one lost. All right? And then this is no lie, they actually had a situation where the Sunday night game was the decider. If they lost that game, they were going to be a 3-way tie for first. If they won the game, they were the standalone champions. And it literally went down to like the last play of the game on the goal line. They ended up losing, had a 3-way tie. So talk about it. You talk about bad beats.
Right.
That's a real one. All right. So let's get back. All right, so we talked a little bit about that there's a frozen line on Wednesday, 5 picks. You got to have it in by what, Saturday 11 a.m. now, right?
Saturday 11 a.m. Unless you play like a Thursday night game, like for the opener, you have to have it in by kickoff of the Thursday game. That also applies on Thanksgiving and then the late season games.
Now, if you submit that one, though, if you want to play the Thursday game, you got to put all 5 in, right?
Exactly.
Or if you wait, you can put it in. Okay, so that's interesting. And there's actually going to be like, I think, 7 or 8 Thursday games this year.
Right, at the end of the year. They've had that the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, so it's like the whole second half of the season, there's going to be a Thursday game. Okay, now do you play the Hilton?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so is that, now we talked about it a little bit in the last video, there's a slight overlay. They pay out everything they take in plus more. Right. Explain that.
Yeah, they have a $10,000 mini contest. You would have had to have entered by 4 o'clock on Monday to be eligible for that. And they actually had 413 people have already signed up that are eligible for that. and they have a shot at hitting the record of 505 people they had in 2005.
So as I said in the last video, Jay Cornegay did a podcast with me today. We're going to have that up soon at pregamepodcast.com. He says he doesn't think they're going to hit the record, so we'll see.
Yeah.
So now I was talking to a new pregame handicapper, Brian Leonard, who's been in town for a long time, very respected. He says he doesn't play the Hilton anymore. He said, listen, this is too sharp. I mean, the best guys in the world are in this contest. Yeah, they're not taking any vig, but why play against 350 of the best guys in the world? In poker, they talk about dead money. What's your sense of the amount of dead money in this contest?
I think there is quite a bit of dead money. I mean, there's, obviously everyone thinks they're a great handicapper. So you have that, just like in poker. And I think we are seeing an influx, obviously the increase in entries. I think we're seeing a lot of people that maybe have seen Bill Simmons on the ESPN or Chad Millman talking about the contest. So they're coming in. Now, can someone like that win, like we've seen in poker? Absolutely. Anyone can catch fire and win it. But overall, the best handicappers are going to have the best chance. So, I mean, I think there is a bit of dead money in there. And, again, if you're consistent, I think it's definitely worth a shot.
And actually, I agree with you 100%. During the podcast with Jay, I gave Chad a shout out because, quite frankly, and I always say Chad's been a great friend to pregame, but I believe his participation in this and writing about it has really driven a lot of interest on the internet. And I've gotten so many responses of people saying, how do I get involved?
Right.
How do I get involved? So I do think the very fact that we're going to be up over last year shows that the interest is growing, because as much as the record may or may not be broken, that record, he said, was 5 or 6 years ago. Okay. Last year it was, what, 330, 340?
350.
350, and this year it's probably, even if it doesn't break the record, it's going to be in the high fours.
Right.
So 25% or whatever more participants. So clear, I'm guessing those aren't the pro bettors getting involved.
Right.
That's probably the dead money.
Right. Yeah. The pro bettors, I think, have been pretty consistent over the years. In fact, yeah, obviously 2005, that's right before the recession. So I mean, before that, it was on a pretty steady climb. Again, not huge, not like we saw in the world of poker either. Mm-hmm, but no, it's obviously the most prestigious. It's been around 22 years, and it's the one that come January, that's when everyone's gonna be talking about.
Now, I think it's interesting, the whole idea of the 67%. If you hit 67%, if you win or if you don't, do you have to win to collect the 10K, or anyone that hits over 67%?
The winner.
All right, so if the winner's over 67%, they give you 10K. Right. Now, I think he mentioned that 3 times in the last 7 years someone's done that, and we estimated real quick on air there was 3,000 or so participants in the last 7 years. So 3 people out of 3,000 is a good guess of the people that's been able to hit 2 out of 3 in the NFL, picking 5 games a week, which is a decent volume, but not crazy volume. Right. I think it kind of puts into perspective the tout claims of 73% and all that stuff, for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, yeah, we're not seeing as many people make those claims lately because people are more educated. That's really not reasonable, especially over a long term. And actually, last year, Richard Stand, who won the Hilton Super Contest, he saw a tweet of mine last year on the last Sunday where he was waiting. I really took it as a big honor that he said he was waiting to see Dave Tuley's tweet that he had won the contest before he really knew he had won it.
Oh, okay.
So
he would have known when he got the check.
Right, that's for sure. But then I'd also tweeted that he was still alive for the $10,000 bonus.
Okay.
Well, it's 85 games over the course of the year. He thought it was 67% of the 85 games. He wasn't reducing it by his number of pushes. Okay. So he still had a shot to hit 67% of his, I think it was 82 games. Uh-huh. So he didn't know that. So he had the Rams on the Sunday night game. So he ran out and bet $5,000 on the Seahawks on Sunday night. No, he hedged to guarantee a $5,000 profit.
All right. Last thing is, one of the unique features of the Super Contest is Saturday, I think it's 1 o'clock or so Pacific, they release the picks themselves.
Right.
So you can follow your favorite handicapper. So for example, this year Marco D'Angelo is going to participate. You can follow his picks, follow your picks, follow Vegas Runner is going to participate, etc. Philly Godfather. So, and you can do that with all 400 people. And you've got people that look at the consensus, you know, who's the preponderance of people on the most on certain games. And that's something that we actually put the consolidated information up at pregame.com. In general, do you think there's any value to that? And if so, where's the value?
I think there's value in looking at handicappers you respect anytime, but I mean the caveat to that is you got to be careful that just because someone loves the game at -3, if all of a sudden you're going to bet and it's -3.5, that person's going to tell you they wouldn't touch it at 3.5. If they're really sharp. So I mean there are lines that will move. I mean obviously hopefully with the line set on Wednesday, hopefully they're not moving as much as they have in the past. But yeah, I wouldn't just take the consensus as gospel, because again, there will be some times when they're just taking the half point.
So in general, you like the idea of identifying handicappers you like and looking at their individual picks rather than the consensus.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And number two, I agree with you 100%. Not only are even half-point line moves around 3 super significant, but additionally, you look at someone's picks and you don't know, is this their 5th best pick or is this their 1st best pick? And quite frankly, it's hard to, I think that the overall percentage in the Hilton would go way up if it was 3 games instead of 5 games. When I talk to most professional batters, very few are betting 5 NFL sides, especially. If you throw in the totals or teasers or whatever. But 5 NFL sides, I think that 4th and 5th game is the hardest game.
Yeah, especially when there's only 14 or 13 games in a week.
With the buys and stuff,
Yeah,
you mean.
right.
Yeah, so. Any closing thoughts?
No, I just, like I said in the video, just love contests. I think it's just a great opportunity to maximize your winning seasons or bail you out of bad ones. And I mean, contests, this applies to not only the ones here in Vegas, but office pools, or there's a lot of online contests. And RJ, you're starting some contests too, right?
Is so with the new pregame site, which is going to be out probably by the time this video's up, we got a ton of new features. But one of them is a very robust contest platform. So what we're going to be running for pregame.com is a Hilton simulation or a mirror of the Hilton, in which we're going to give away an entry to 2012's Hilton to the winner. So free roll as an overlay for $1,500 and we're going to throw in free proxy service for the winner. But additionally, you've got your community, and what we're going to do, because we've got such a nice robust platform, is you're going to plug in and have your own Hilton, and you're going to do a Leroy simulation over in the pregame.com contest platform, in which that's going to be open to your community. But unless I'm mistaken, we're going to open it up to the entire community that you're going to be running that contest through the platform.
Right, I'm really excited about that. Yeah, the last 3 years we've been running it at our own website and hand grading the results. So this
that's over, baby.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard, computers are big.
I know, it's amazing. I love them.
I think they're here to stay.
Oh, we'll see. I want to give it a few more years.
Awesome.
No, but I totally agree. I think it's a great thing, and yeah, thanks for having us on.
Awesome. All right, guys, if you didn't see the first video, you can check that out at pregame.tv. And by the way, we've been killing it this week. We had videos already up on Wednesday. Tomorrow, Vegas Runner and Brian Leonard are going to be doing some videos. Check it all out, pregame.tv. Talk to you then.